And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it's Sunday. It's a normal show. How we doing?
Yeah, Sunday, you know what that means. I'm cold. It is rainy. Frosty. It is cloudy. Do you say it's frosty?
Yeah.
I
literal.
like that. Yeah.
Literal frosty, yeah.
It's probably a little bit cooler, a little more frosty where you are because you're in southern Arizona. I'm here in the Phoenix area, if you will. We had a fun conversation about that. It's like, it's awesome. Man. It's Phoenix, it's Tucson. Like, yeah. I should have gotten my feelings about these things.
No, yeah, man. You got to be proud of where you're from.
You got to be proud, and that I am. So no, man, I am cold, but I feel blessed. I feel so excited to see you and to get into our conversations today. I know we say every episode's going to be good. I know often we say we have a jam-packed edition, but Brad, when I tell our viewers and listeners, we got so much going on today's episode. I'm so excited to get your takes on everything. And as always, it's just great to see you. How are you?
I'm good. It's cold. We have tarps and stuff over all of our plants in the backyard. A couple of our plants did not make it through the first freeze we got. And we're trying to keep the other ones alive. It is cold. I believe we have a high of 52 today, which I know people that are listening that are out east are like, wow, that's an incredibly nice warm day. That's springtime. It's summer. It doesn't drop below freezing around here very often. And when it does, it doesn't last all that long. So it's supposed to be in the 20s tonight. I'm not looking forward to that. It's going to be chilly, Tyler, and I'm not here for it. There's nothing I'd like to do more than just roll up underneath a blanket and grab some hot cocoa, some coffee, and relax, stay warm. But unfortunately, all my blankets are taken. Tyler, we haven't dusted the segment off in a little bit, so it is time to get into it. It's someday when you have kids.
Boo.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday
Someday.
when you have kids.
You're crazy.
All right, Tyler. I promised Freya this week that we would do something different. She's getting a little stir crazy. She can't wait to go back to school tomorrow. She misses all of her friends, and we've been having a blast together. But there's only so much dad-daughter time before it starts getting a little repetitive. And I think she's over it. And I built her a fort. I told her I'd build her a fort. It's a pretty big fort. Our couch is massive. Our new couch is really big, and it's completely covered. Shout out to the Big Blanket Company. I bought a blanket from them several years ago for Jess for Christmas. It is like 10 feet by 10 feet. It is huge. It makes incredible forts. Threw a sheet over the top. There are lights underneath it. And my goodness, the joy in that child's eyes going into the fort for the first time and then hearing come out of it all muffled through the blankets of because it was so awesome was really cool. And then she's discovering secret entrances and exits and stuff. Awesome.
That's
just awesome.
It's the best part.
Best part. She grabbed her Kindle. She had it under. She had a pillow for 2 nights. She slept under there. It's still up. Jess has been sleeping on the floor next to her. I'm sleeping in a bed. I made the fort. My job is done.
I love it.
I said I'll join you on the floor, and now I'm like, I got school tomorrow. I don't think I should. Yeah. And she's been sleeping in that thing like it's been wonderful. But while she's been in there, she's been making videos and sending me videos. And I'm gonna insert this video right now.
I got a snaggletooth. Do 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 do. I got a light on top, which is the one you gave me. Do moon, super bright, you eyes. Bright in your eyes. Bright in your eyes. Bright, 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 bright. I am going to put it right here. And then say goodbye. Bye, bye. Say goodbye. I will say... Goodbye. I farted.
I don't know where to start. I mean, I did not expect a prop. Way to honor Bray Wyatt with the lantern there. She can really hold a note, Brad. That was
Unfortunately, she can. Yes.
Freya's a little bit of a crooner.
Yeah, yeah. She loves to sing. She loves to do it.
She's growing
she
up
loves
so
to record.
fast.
Yeah,
Man, I tell
crazy.
you this every time. I cannot believe how fast she's growing. I know I'm not the only person that tells you that, but I remember when she was I remember when she was a thought, when she was an idea.
Yeah.
And now
Been a while.
And then I remember when she was a toddler, and now I just can't believe how she's grown, man. It's the magic of life, truly.
And she's reading and she's counting and doing all kinds of math and stuff now. She's really good at math, and her reading is starting to come up. You know, I was a little, Jess was not worried. I was a little worried because I was reading quite a bit at this point, and so was Jess. And now she's just like boom, boom, boom. Now she gets it, and she's crushing it. And getting to hear her like looking at the TV, and now she's reading stuff on it. I'm like, oh, now we got to be more careful about what's on the TV and what's on my phone and all of that stuff. So
the inquisitive stage.
Yeah. So got to be careful about that stuff. But it's been a blast, and I hope you get to experience reliving the Fort game someday when you have kids. Awesome week.
That's beautiful. Speaking of awesome weeks, Brad, awesome week of pro wrestling. As always, we're going to kick off our conversation with WWE. I have a long question for you. A lot of exposition. And then a question. I promise. Are you ready for it?
I am, because mine has no exposition, so I'm excited.
Beautiful. That's the contrast we need today.
Yep.
So Cody and Shinsuke are building toward a grudge match. AOP and Precious Paul are back. Io and Michin had my favorite match of the week. Bianca Belair is still a goddess. And Mello is definitely doing the most to stop Trick's ascension. Also, speaking of NXT, Joaquin Wilde went viral with an absurd splash.
Yeah, he did.
As always, you had one of the best tweets or posts on X of the week when you were fantasy booking Randy Orton hitting an RKO off of
RKO
Joaquin.
counter off of that. Yeah.
That was funny.
It would lead to immediate death.
Certainly. But maybe we can pull that off in 2K. I don't know. But there's no way we're leading off this week's WWE discussion without talking about the great one, the people's champ, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The Rock returned to Raw. He beat up Jinder Mahal and all but declared that he's looking for the head of the table.
Yep.
It feels like it's happening. The dream match versus Roman at WrestleMania in April. Finally, my question. What do you make of all this, Brad?
Cody's never finishing his story. Number one, I struggle with all of this because I don't know what's going to happen here with the Royal Rumble, which does have me intrigued. It makes me excited. I also know that we have the big four in WWE, the pay-per-views, and that Endeavor is treating them not like the big four. They said like, no, they're all equally huge. We want all of them to be big time events. And it's like, that's kind of like what happened with Marvel movies. Too much, too quick. People got fatigued, I think. And now people were like, superhero movies, I'll wait till it comes out. Just because it's like, it's just too much. And I feel like if you're going to make everything a Kohl's sale, like every week is the biggest sale of the year, it becomes too fatiguing. So I'm already tired thinking about it because we got the Royal Rumble Fatal 4-Way announced. LA Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns. I have questions about that. Roman's the youngest person in that match, which is wild to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely is, isn't he?
He's the only one in his 30s, 38.
Wow. I think of LA Knight being so much younger because
he's
his vibrancy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
He's new to this this big of a scene. Wow.
Yep.
It's great
It's
stuff.
wild. Yeah.
Great stuff.
I have a question about LA Knight later. In terms of The Rock coming back, it's the right choice. And I think if anything, I kind of hate it unless it's for the head of the table. It's not for the championship. The chip can't be on the line. The end. If it's on the line, it's stupid. I don't need it. I don't want it. We're going to get a dream match where The Rock loses and the outcome is predetermined, where they're all predetermined, but I don't want to watch it knowing that the scripted show, I already saw the script, feels wrong. So if he's still the champ by Mania, which I think he will be, then it cannot be a championship match. If they make it a championship match, and I think this could be a great way for Rock to have his retirement match. Like he could very much go like, this is a career head of the table versus career. This is your last match. You're retiring or you're the head of the table. No belts on the line. Rock loses. He gets to have his last match against a family member at WrestleMania. What's better than that? I think this could be perfect. I think we can get what we want with that. I think Seth and Punk can main event the first night of Mania, right? Like that seems the clear path for this.
That can't be night 2. Yeah.
And neither of them have main evented, right?
No.
So that would be a huge moment for both of them.
Yes. No 2 main events of Roman. We love Roman Reigns. We acknowledge him, but there's so many scenarios that were floated around this week, Brad, especially since this happened on Monday. We had the whole week to process a fantasy book. This idea, I'm going to ask you this, but I think I already know your answer, and you probably already know mine. I gave it away. The idea was floated that, well, what if you have no Punk and versus Rollins to main event? What if you go full Roman Reigns Jones? Main event of night 1 is Roman versus Rock. Perhaps no title on the line. But then night 2, the main event is Roman versus Cody. And then that's where we get Roman dropping. Because I can't see a scenario in which Roman drops the title at an event that is not named WrestleMania. I just don't see that. Right. Maybe that's to your point about Endeavor wanting every event to be huge. So maybe you could convince me SummerSlam is where Roman drops, but in my mind, I don't see it happening at an event not named WrestleMania, and certainly not at, Elimination Chamber or Backlash or any of those options.
I'm trying to think of like when the Hulk Hogan win streak came to an end, and I'm not going to be able to find going through the Sportster list. Whenever his win streak ended, whatever that event or a comparable event is, I can see that being kind of the same time. I'm not saying how many days. I'm saying like his streak ended at SummerSlam or Survivor Series or something like that, which it probably didn't. It probably happened at something that's now defunct. But if it happened at one of those events, then that might be where his streak ends too. Maybe they just do it as like a symbolic capstone on the whole run. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there. But Cody, what was Dusty's event?
It's a great question.
Because they were all WCW.
Right.
So unless he's going to challenge Roman at Bash at the Beach over at NXT or Great American Bash.
Could you imagine? Can I be controversial here? Maybe this is following up on your, I think the very first words you uttered in response to my question. Maybe Cody isn't the guy who's going to break Roman's streak. Like, are we still convinced that it's definitively going to be Cody? Because for the first time, and maybe I'm just in my feelings, but as the Cody Rhodes fan I am, even though I think Rock versus Roman, if that's available, you got to take it. And I'm going to have a lot of fun watching that. I don't, maybe this isn't Cody's path. Maybe he's not going to be the guy to beat Roman. I still have a hard time envisioning that, but I don't know, Brad. We want him to finish his story. I just don't think it's going to happen in Philadelphia in April.
Can I give you a hot take? Okay. We got the Rumble coming up. Fatal 4-way. Lots of people, lots of ass whooping. Roman's absolutely retaining.
Damian Priest cashing.
Damian Priest.
Get out of here.
That would,
Damian Priest is the guy?
I think that he would be a He's not the
Good for Damien, man. I love the Archer.
Cody beating
Wow, that's a hot take.
Cody
Scorching
beating Roman is a much bigger thing than Cody beating Damian Priest. I get it. But you could easily throw Roman in a triple threat match with them and having Cody win. You could even have him pin Roman at some point for the belt in that triple threat match. Who knows? But I could see it happening, leading to a Judgment Day bloodline feud, which I think could be a lot of fun. Like a lot of fun with those three guys. And then maybe that brings Jay back in. Maybe it's a babyface bloodline. Maybe this amends happen. Who knows what happens?
Didn't we get the Rhea Solo stare down?
Yep.
Months ago, and that felt pretty electric.
Forever ago, yeah. So I would love to see something like that. I think it could be great. So yeah, give me that. I would love to see that. It would be a change of pace for both of them because you have two heel factions, and one of them's not staying heel, and I don't know which one it would be. Who do you think the crowd gets on the side of? I has to be, and I have been just dying for a beltless Roman forever because I want to see that character.
It's going to be magnificent, especially if they present
good
baby face. I can hear the money being printed already.
I want him to be a little bit like the bum ass Corbin character for a little while.
Oh no! Oh no!
Mustard stains on his shirt.
I need you to convince me.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm ready for that. It might be a stretch, me. It might be a stretch.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see that either. But if he goes back to boss mode suits, yes, please. I missed that. Tyler. So like you said, there's a lot to talk about in the WWE this thing, but I'm going to skip the background time and get straight to the question. Has LA Knight cooled off too much heading into the Rumble? And for context, been thinking about this a lot. There's like no chatter about him whatsoever. He got color this week, but nobody's really talking about him. They're talking about Punk. They're talking about Cody not doing anything.
Right.
At the Rumble, they're talking about Rock, but nobody's talking about LA Knight.
Right. Yeah, and even Kevin Owens, he's really. I think the match versus Logan makes a lot of sense for Rumble. So he certainly cooled off. I mean, he was just. I think about his money and the response he got at Money in the Bank across the pond. I mean, that was just okay. This guy's the biggest star on the show, not named Jey Uso. But this is huge. So he's cooled off, but I have enough faith in him and his, I think the longevity that his character has with the audience that come WrestleMania time, to me, it makes so much sense to have him face Logan Paul. And that's where Logan Paul drops the title. So has he cooled off? 100%, that's undeniable. But is it going to be a detriment to him? I don't think so. I don't foresee him winning the 4-way at Rumble. But from there, his path, to me, it must be the U.S. title, Brad. But if you and I are speaking 3 months from now and LA Knight is not the challenger for Logan Paul, let's say he's in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, then we need to revisit this combo. And then I'm probably going to change my answer. But for now, I think he's in an advantageous spot. I mean, you could argue that he would be a favorite to win the Rumble, but I just think it has U.S. title written all over it for him this year, which will still be a really, really big deal. Him versus Logan Paul will be a money match on that card. I was more so surprised that he pulled out the referee after Randy hit the RKO on AJ this week on SmackDown. I thought that was a big time heel move from LA Knight, who's leaned away from the heel persona big time. So that shook me a bit. I like my LA Knight babyface in 2024. I don't think it's going to be to a detriment. I think he's going to be more than fine come WrestleMania, when I think that's the night he actually finally gets crowned with gold.
Yeah, I think he's too over as a babyface right now to mess with that. Like, let the crowd love him. They're buying his merch. They're chanting his name. Like, he's making tons of money. I don't know if you want to screw with that. I feel like from a business perspective, I'd be pushing that as hard as I can. Doesn't necessarily mean he needs to be a champion, but I feel like he's become sort of a tertiary thing, if even that. I'm in complete agreement with you, man. Like, U.S. title has to happen. I think he would be a great title holder. Give him a long reign. I think it could be a blast. Him wrestling everybody, and because it's not taken so kind of ridiculously seriously, that I think he could have a lot of fun with it, and the feuds could be a really good time.
Absolutely. And we can't forget that he re-signed with the company reportedly for a multi-year deal. So
Yep.
you and I are forever curious about contracts and,
Yep, love that stuff.
and the language behind that and what those meetings look like. Do they happen over Zoom? Are they in person? Are they both? But to me, if he re-signed multi-year with WWE, I would think there has to be some sort of guarantee. I don't know if it's a wink wink. I don't know if it's in writing that he's going to get that moment. And maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing, Brad. Maybe that doesn't matter to him. Maybe that doesn't matter to a lot of wrestlers, but I would think that there had to be some reassurance that he's going to have that crowning moment. Much like I thought with the Kevin Owens when they were in contract negotiations, he got the match with Stone Cold. Much like, dare I say, Cody Rhodes when he came over, I thought maybe him being the guy to beat Roman would be in that contract. Yeah. But as we're seeing, maybe it's much more complex than that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what if there's language in those contracts, especially with Cody. At some point, I don't know. I keep saying at some point he's going to win the belt, and maybe the point is he never does, like his dad. Maybe that's the point. He lives a dusty life.
It feels very AEW when he was no longer able to challenge for the title after losing.
Which was
right? I think you have that post, right? Full Gear, Jericho versus Cody. Yeah, you got the post.
His character doesn't work in AEW because of that. That's why it fell off. And it's like, bad. Man, that sucked because I see some of the stuff he did there, and I'm like, man, I miss that Cody like a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think he'll be back at some point.
I think so too, but it's gonna be a while before he's back. No doubt. Think. No doubt. And whatever happened there needs to get smoothed over. And that there's so many stories that I want to hear about someday. That's one of them. But Tyler, we got to get into it now. We got to get into a love story, a different kind of story, the end of a love story and the beginning of a love story. This week was the Golden Wedding. So cue up the music. It's time for another rose from Tyler.
And now for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
I'm so happy we're speaking about this. I'm so happy we have a platform where we can talk batch, Brad. I know you're kind of lukewarm on Joey's upcoming season, so I'm going to bask in these next few minutes when we
lukewarm's generous. Yeah.
It's very generous. You pointed it out, man. You set me up perfectly here. Gary and Teresa's big night happened. The inaugural Golden Wedding took place on Thursday, primetime on ABC. To me, this was really our American version of a royal wedding. That might be a stretch, but I have a few observations I want to share.
Can't wait.
First, Jesse Palmer hosted, of course, but Charity and Kathy, Teresa's frenemy, were effectively the MCs for the night. I thought they did super well. Mm-hmm. There were cameos from all types of Bachelor Nation people, some I care about, some not as much. I was really impressed with Susan as the officiant for the wedding. I thought she was charismatic and just a really great speaker, and she was one of my biggest winners from this event. Speaking of, quickly, I'm going to give you my winners and losers from the night, and I'm going to pass it to you for your thoughts. My winners are as follows. Teresa and Teresa stands. Respect us, acknowledge us. Second winner, Paul Russell. He is the artist behind the song Lil Boo Thing, which was all over TikTok last year. It's been on the charts is the right way to say that word. And it was also played during the wedding, which I thought was cool because I actually really, really enjoy Lil Boo Thing. And then finally, Braden from Charity season. This is the schmuck who proposed to Christina M., who I believe he met on Paradise. Braden had a really big spot. He's getting the push, Brad. He was presented as a villain during Charities, but he proposed, which is like, I feel like you don't do that at someone else's wedding. I thought that was a social rule.
Never do that. No.
You never do that.
Thank you. Yes.
But everything is wrestling, and I think he's receiving a push from ABC. So I don't think he's out of our lives quite yet. So a winner for him, not for us. Quickly, losers. Michelle Turner, former Bachelorette, one of my favorite Bachelorettes. I felt like she was treated as a total afterthought here, Brad. I don't even think Michelle was presented to us. I just saw her sort of milling about the room. And I was like, oh wait, that's Michelle. That's my Lil Boo Thing. I can say that now since she's single. Her and Nate split up. But I thought that she was deserving of more shine or a mention or a lower third or something. She didn't get that, so unfortunately she's on my losers list. Second, anyone who doesn't have an Amazon subscription, Amazon was promoted heavily.
So much.
It was a little disgusting.
Yeah, it was so
I
much.
say this as someone who does shop at Amazon. And it was so much, Brad. And it was kind of forced on us when it didn't need to be.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't have a sub is or was a loser on Thursday night. And then finally, last loser, Gary Turner. To me, this special was more about Teresa and celebrating her, as it should be. But if we contrast where we were at with Gary as a Bachelor Nation at the start, the introduction of Golden Bachelor to where we are now, I think his stock has fallen quite considerably. If this were a presidential race, I think his approval rating dipped several points over the last few weeks. So he's my final loser. What did you think of this special night?
I have a couple of notes. Sandra, the Denzel line.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Long-term storytelling.
Amazing. There was a Tenacious D reference, Tyler, which was amazing. Old people were just straight up old peopling with the Amazon wish list. That made me chuckle. And the thing that I found the funniest of all was that this took place at a La Quinta. I don't know why that popped me. It wasn't a Westin. It wasn't like it wasn't a Ritz-Carlton.
No Marriott.
It was not a Marriott. It was a La Quinta. And there's something about that that's just really funny to me because I think about the La Quinta down the road here off the Cortero exit or wherever it is over there. And it's just, I don't know, it gives me a great deal of joy thinking about how stupid that is. And then it was at a La Quinta. But my goodness, man, it was a lot of fun. It just like the vibe seemed much better than the show. Probably for good reason, but I agree with what you said. The La Quinta, though, Tyler, that place looked pretty nice.
That it did. Yeah, the furniture in particular was marvelous. And speaking of marvelous furniture, Brad, we have a new sponsor, and we're going to tell you all about them. It's a new year, which means new resolutions. One of mine is to spend more time outside, away from screens and around the people I love. Grand Patio is helping me do that. For over 20 years, they've partnered with internationally renowned designers to create collections that are equal parts luxurious and livable. The kind that can transform your backyard into a personal oasis that plays host to life's most special moments. Grand Patio uses the best factories, offers handcrafted products from some of the world's most talented designers, and of course, prioritizes sustainability. Their products include umbrellas, recliners, gazebos, sectionals, and much more. You can visit our affiliate link, grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod to shop their collection today. Once again, that's grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod. Check them out.
Yeah, I've been looking at them a lot lately. We need to get the backyard ready to go for the upcoming spring and summer seasons. And I can't wait for that because it is cold. It's ridiculous out there. Tyler, I can't stand it. I moved away from this crap.
You did.
Well, at least we have things to look forward to down here, like searing heat after a pleasant springtime. I hope it's going to be great. But until then, we have AEW. Hit me with your question.
Yeah, let's do it, man. So AEW did it again. They put on an incredible week of wrestling following a lackluster pay-per-view. So much good this week. Takeshita and Darby beat each other up for our entertainment. Private Party is back. You broke the news to me. I actually rewatched it yesterday, and it was magnificent. I'm so glad the red carpet, the red rope. Yeah, yes. The rope is back. Oh man, it made me so happy. The Virtuosa debuted in front of her hometown fans. Shout out to the Garden State, my mother's home state. Yes, sir. Mariah May is a star. Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan are stars. We got to see Sting work, and two of the best teams in the world main evented Collision. But let's talk about that Dynamite main event. It's pretty clear to me that Swerve and Hangman are going to be in the main event title picture this year. However, following the loss to Swerve on Wednesday, what do you think is next for the ascending Daniel Garcia? More specifically, what would you consider a successful 2024 for him?
Man, that's a good question. Staying out of ROH, unless it's the world title, I could see that happening. But right now it's like he's doing things. Maybe they go after the trios belts. Maybe I don't know what. It's a great question because I have absolutely no idea. I was thinking about this the other day, watching him because they're really pushing him on social and the backstage interviews and the post-match interviews. And it's like he's obviously a threat, and they're presenting him as an incredible wrestler and incredible talent, even though it's L after L after L after L after L for him. He's losing a lot, but he's always in it. He's putting out bangers. Like he is a match machine right now. Belt wise, title picture wise, it's TBS or main title. I don't really want him doing anything else. I don't need him in a trios. I don't want him in a tag team. And I know FTR said something about like that. Well, the tag teams have classically been like individual wrestlers pairing together, and that's what tag teams are, always have been. They could be a draw. They could be solo wrestlers that are in a tag team. The current champions, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, for example. Yeah, I get it. I totally understand that. But you have tag teams all over the place in AEW, and none of them are really being used as tag teams until this week. And what did they do? They main evented Collision, and it was incredible. It was incredible. It was one of the best TV matches in a long time. But then Daniel Garcia gets his ass whooped. So it's what's next? I have absolutely no idea, like at all. I got nothing for you, Tyler. I wish I did, because he's right now, he's being presented as a big deal, and he is a big deal, and he's incredible, and I want more. I just don't know what to do with it.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be pivotal because we were at this place with Garcia.
Brass ring match, maybe Dynamite,
Face of
the double or nothing, Face of the Revolution.
That's coming up.
Maybe he's a Joker. Maybe he's I don't know. He's something like that. Maybe he finally takes the Dynamite Diamond ring off Max.
Wow.
If you can even compete to defend it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask you this because it feels like we were in this position with Garcia in the not so distant future where he was over like Rover. Mm-hmm. And then speaking of talents who went a bit cold, largely through booking, it seemed like his momentum really fizzled out. He was doing am I a sports entertainer? Am I a pro wrestler? We thought maybe he was going to be recruited by BCC. Maybe he's going to leave Jericho. We were super invested. He was getting over with every crowd, and it just kind of stopped. He was in those trios matches with Parker and Daddy Magic, but it
was the sports entertainer stuff that killed it. They were like, he's a wrestler, and then he turned back, and it was like that killed all of his momentum for a year, basically.
Yeah. So now we cannot revert back to that. I know they were in New Jersey and he's from New York, but Brad, I remember during his entrance, of course he did the hip move, the dance, but when he got on the ropes and all he has to do is just put up his arms like this
slowly,
just a great reaction. In that moment, I was like, hell yeah. Like this needs to be Daniel Garcia's year. Like we need to capitalize on this. So like you, to me, the first answer I think of is strap him up. He needs gold. Likely, like you said, TNT, as opposed to, say, the heavyweight title, because I think that's reserved for Swerve, maybe Hangman, definitely Will Ospreay. I keep forgetting that the best wrestler in the world, arguably, is just coming in, imminently.
I think, right?
Yeah. And that's, something needs to be said for that. So I would love TNT gold in his future. Of course, we have the Continental belt now with Eddie Kingston. So I just want them to take full advantage of him. To your point, Brad, it seems like he's undeniable. I remember Tony Khan at the World's End press conference, like really spotlighting Garcia and really saying, hey, like be on the lookout because Garcia's here to stay. It's his year. So whether what
that means.
What does that mean, right? Whether it's Swerve, a great face-off between Nana and Garcia. That was
so
great.
Good.
I forgot to mention Undisputed Kingdom is a thing too. Maybe we'll get to that, maybe not. But Swerve, Garcia, Mariah May, Deonna Purrazzo, like Tony, like there are talents who are just undeniable. And I think this year is going to be about establishing these new top names within the company. And I can't wait to see that.
I have nothing else to add. Tyler, this is a bit of a setup So bear with me. I was thinking about this and I was like, all right, well, I understand why. Understand these things, and I think it's pretty great. Also, I have questions. Saraya has been pumping out the women's wrestler videos to great success. Got 2, teased to part 3. Can't wait for these. I'm loving every one of these, and hopefully people watch them and understand what's being said. Ruby popped me huge in that last video where it's like, if you buy our used ring gear, I don't want to know what you do with it. That made me laugh. It also made me cringe. So here are people that were on the show this week. These are people that were on the show. Lots of Tony Storm backstage segments. Serena Deeb return promo. Or I guess it's not really a promo, package. Backstage women's segments. We did have a few of those. Mariah May versus Queen Aminata with the Deonna Purrazzo debut. Always good to see Queen in the ring.
That was really fun match.
Willow and Chris. Sky and Kiera. Willow and Chris against, I can't remember what they named her. Her real last name is Copeland. So they renamed her Hardcastle for the show, which I think is so awesome.
It's great.
It's such a great deep cut for people that know. I thought that was really cool. Respect to her. I'm sorry, I don't remember your first name. I will do better in the future. Willow and Chris were there though, and we got Sky and Kiera Hogan, and then we had Julia Hart ringing the bell. Again, Mariah May, Queen Aminata, Willow and Chris versus 2 people we've never seen really, Sky and Kiera Hogan. Those were the 3 women's matches. And then we had Julia Hart doing a 10-bell salute after House of Black murdered FTR, which was awesome. Almost all the women that were in those vignettes, those I'm a women's wrestler, almost all of them did not wrestle, didn't appear outside of backstage segs, any of that stuff. Tyler, is the women's division doing all it can with their stars, especially if we get Mercedes Moné?
Not yet, but we're definitely getting closer to a position where we can answer yes to that question. To me, coming off of World's End, the Deonna signing, the booking you just mentioned from this past week, Brad. Let's not forget the Serena Deeb vignettes as well. And
cannot wait for her to come back.
Right. And the last part you said, the lingering suspicion, the want of Mercedes signing with the company, I think we're getting closer to a yes. So are we there now? No, not fully, but we're in one of the most healthy periods of women's wrestling in AEW in a long time, if not ever. Again, the talent's been there, but we're getting screen time. We're getting hopefully story time. Thunder Rosa, right, was back, and hopefully we're going to see her again soon. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, like hopefully we're going to see all these women in 2024. I think it's shaping to be the best year of women's wrestling in AEW. I know we've had high hopes before, and dare I say we've been let down more than once. But this year, it has to happen. I feel really good about what I saw this week. I'm so happy for these ladies. Like, this is what we've been asking for, and I really think it's only going to get better from here.
I completely agree. I saw some people complaining online that their biggest stars weren't on the show, and it's like, well, how do you make stars if they're not on the show? So, like, it doesn't make sense to let's keep Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan. The what is that tweet that I sent you? I can't remember what it was. Right?
Was
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Nyla Rose or Mix-a-Lot? Yeah, we can talk about it. It was. I'm never going to complain with Sky Blue versus Kiera Hogan, man. Big fan of both ladies, and Nyla
nailed it.
I think Nyla really nailed it with that.
Yeah.
I would not tweet that, but Nyla did.
100%. Yeah,
and we continue to remain grateful for her and her service.
Yes. I thought that was. I also thought that it was a lot of fun. I didn't think it was like the greatest match ever, but I also thought it was really good. I loved that transition into the submission hold at the end by Sky Blue. I thought that was really cool.
Sky, this is Sky's year. Like her, she I think she wrestled the most matches out of any AEW and ROH talent last year.
Yes,
and I can actually see her as a championship threat. I absolutely love Sky Blue. I'm so happy. She's absolute breakout star in the last year.
Yeah, I think yes.
Kiera's great too.
I don't think Saraya needs a big push to make her a star. She came in a star. Ruby Soho does not need a big push to be a big star. She already is. She's always a threat. Even though I love what she's doing right now. I love what all of them are doing right now. Toni Storm just went to a new dimension on her own and is now just, it's just incredible. It's my favorite gimmick of the year. And Serena Deeb's coming back, and Jamie Hayter. Hopefully, I was just looking at her Instagram. Her last post was 34 weeks ago. I miss Jamie Hayter. I need to see Jamie Hayter on my TV. We have Thunder Rosa coming back. We have Deonna Purrazzo. We have Mercedes Moné. This division is stacked,
Really
so
is.
I can't wait to see what they produce out of this. Hopefully, we get some really great stuff, Tyler. Final shout out there, though, since we're on this subject, we got to talk about Big Stoke. Thicker than a Snickers. It's not something I expected to hear announcing Chris Statlater. And I loved watching Stat have to turn around away from the hard cam to laugh. That was so good. I love this so much.
Yeah. As a community, we were quite thirsty this week, I guess. Now that I think about it, between Sky and Kiera, Stoke on the mic with Chris, and they seem like
Mariah May in general. Yeah.
Mariah May
were just being
Queen Aminata. Yep.
Little gross on the timeline.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. And I'm so glad because you and I have talked about this a lot with talent, and especially in the women's division. This may be kind of the opposite of Daniel Garcia. In the past, women have had title reigns in AEW, but then it seems like they really cool off, and we don't really see them in a storyline. They're just kind of hanging out, maybe wrestling on Rampage, i.e. Hikaru Shida. I don't know if we mentioned her name, by the way. No. Another star in the
Riho.
Riho. Embarrassment of riches. So I'm glad that it seems like they're leaning into Chris and Willow, and they're not just going to fade away into Friday night obscurity, respectfully. I think that although obviously they're on Rampage, I think that they're so talented, and if they're being paired with Stokely, the three of them are so entertaining that there's going to be a constant there, and we're going to see them. I don't want them just having random pop-up matches every so often. So that makes me really happy, Brad. I laughed too, just like Chris. That was fantastic. I love all these talented people so much. Chris, Willow, Stoke, everyone you listed off. It's just an absolute joy to watch them. They're all fantastic.
And I really do love watching people develop and become better and do all these things. And I don't know that I get that from WWE because they do such a good job of doing that on the front end, where you have the Performance Center, you have NXT, and you have all these other things. And then
we saw Nat, right? Nat by Nature, and her, right? Like there was AEW. I saw Bishop Khan. I saw Richard Starks. I saw Jade Cargill.
Yeah. It's just people training
great
in the business. I think that's amazing. I love watching all of this stuff unfold and people working on their craft. WWE is polish and spectacle and huge characters and huge everything. And I love that. And I love that AEW is just this dirty, kind of smaller, grimy thing that has freedom and danger that's involved in it, that WWE doesn't have that as much. But they have something else that's just like, it's undeniable. It's hard to look away from. And I love that we have both of these things. We are so spoiled in 2024 now. I have to correct myself a lot.
I bet you do. Right in the date on the board. You got to get ready for that now that winter break is over.
Oh, I know. I wrote the first one the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a problem for me.
Used to be an issue for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, like, we have so much wrestling in our lives, Tyler. It's even on the silver screen. This week, Tyler went to see the Iron Claw. I'm jealous. I was in Fortland watching the Mystery of Blind Frog Ranch, binging the hell out of that show. And I did not go to the Iron Claw. And I'm jealous. But we do have GI at the movies, so play the music.
And now it's time for GI at the movies.
This was another great one. A24 does it again. I was gonna say again. Am I Chris Jericho?
I was Jericho 97.
What was that? Battle of the Belts this weekend. A24 does it again, Brad. Same studio that brought us Moonlight, one of my favorite movies from, that was years and years ago. Really, really great company. Really, really great film. The Iron Claw was dope. It's of course based around the story of the Von Erichs, Texas wrestling royalty. Lots of tragedy, lots of history. Just a really, really rich film. It was not only entertaining, but it was a total history lesson. I gotta confess this to you. I wasn't very hip on the Von Erichs. I didn't really know much about their background. Like I know the name, I know they were on AEW TV recently, but I wasn't aware of the full depth of their story. On one hand, their legacy in Texas and how pivotal they were in the 80s in the wrestling scene, 70s and 80s, I believe. But then also the tragic element of their family and all of the loss and grief that they've experienced. I was not aware of that. So I went into this film as kind of a low-key novice. I learned a ton. What's beautiful about this film, Brad, is I don't think you need to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. It certainly helps. It's very much a sports biographical piece, but it was just really, really well executed. Of course, there were cameos that will pop you. MJF was in it. Chavo Guerrero was in it. The Hollywood Hunk, Brian Nemeth was in it. So there were some recognizable faces, but just a really, really fantastic piece of cinema. Zac Efron was great. I'm not super hip to his career. I wasn't into High School Musical when it came out, but I know his body of work. I know he's been leaning into being just a real life babyface over recent years, and he was fantastic here. I would not be surprised if he's nominated come award season. He was fantastic and really carried the film on his back. The whole cast was great, though. This has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes as we record, and I don't even know that does it enough justice.
That's awesome.
Great film. You are going to love it, my friend. If you have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and check this out. It's a great watch.
I can't wait to see it. I'll probably just buy it when it comes out, because it's one of those things I've been waiting for it forever. And there is an A24 shop. If you haven't been on the A24 shop, there is a Von Erichs. There's a couple of different Von Erichs merchandise things that are on there. They have a lot of really cool stuff on here. But I've been waiting for this to pop up for a while. I've been watching it for a while. At least a month or two, waiting for the film to come out and all this. And now it's like, when am I going to go? I don't have a babysitter. Jess doesn't want to see this. So it's going to be me going solo if I go, or maybe I can convince Mr. Bergeson to come with. Tyler, what did we miss?
We missed a few things. So first, in terms of wrestling, the Undisputed Kingdom officially debuted. I trust all the talent here, Brad. I would be lying to you if I said I loved the first promo with them. I stay concerned about what this means for Wardlow. I guess I'm just a real mark for this guy. The idea or the notion of him becoming world champ and then he's going to pass it to Adam Cole is absurd. So I'm already thinking, okay, does this mean we're getting a Wardlow versus Adam Cole feud in the future, which would be fun? Does this mean that Wardlow is going to become champ? Because I gave you the list earlier. I don't see him leapfrogging the Samoa Joes, the Swerves, the
Adam Cole would swallow Wardlow on the microphone. It would be boring.
That he would.
And Wardlow would just have to resort to killing him.
And is this just running the MJF Wardlow storyline back 2 or 3 years
100%.
later? It feels like that. I don't know that we need to just have a retread. It was great as it was. So I have questions about that.
He did tease before you continue. He did tease probably a year ago. Wardlow, I think pre-haircut, teased how he wants to get back at MJF for almost ruining his night. Like he's taking stuff that's not storyline and making it storyline. So I think his motivation for this is, I'm still pissed about the plane ticket. I'm still pissed that you almost didn't show up for this show. And all of the conversation was around you instead of around me when it was my moment. And now I want to take stuff from you. And I know that's what's going on there. And that works fine. But did you hear the reaction when he's going for the world title?
There was no reaction.
There was nothing. They cooled him off for months. He went away forever, came back, huge deal, wet fart, gone again. Just shows up once in a while to murder dudes, and that's it. It's been pretty bad. And I don't know whose fault that is, but it's been not good.
Yeah, and I think the TNT title run in particular, that
The
was
second one was bad.
it just wasn't. It didn't hit. It didn't.
The Hobbs stuff and the QTV, and then
Yeah.
all of that just sort of
Yes.
went away. And it's like, well, that was for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So Undisputed
Yeah.
Kingdom, it's definitely a TBD for me. I want to decide on them weeks and weeks down the line. I want to give it some more time, but I wasn't blown away. The music's cool. The group is
Yeah.
talented, but it's wait and see mode for me. Final two ones. Caitlin Clark hit another buzzer beater. We had Erica Day on very recently. Check out that episode if you haven't. We were talking potential WNBA draft prospects. Caitlin Clark is widely considered to be the number one pick going to the Fever, potentially pairing up with Aaliyah Boston, last year's Rookie of the Year. So Caitlin Clark is just an absolute star, and I think her transition to the WNBA is going to be really fun and going to bring even more eyeballs to the product. And then finally, speaking of eyeballs, as of maybe 2 days ago, Brad, 15 million plus people watched Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast. He was there for about a 3-hour interview / episode.
Yeah.
I actually watched about 2 hours of it somehow. It's kind of multitasking, but I did listen to it. And my God, it was, if we had time for a fourth segment, promo of the week would actually go to Cat Williams. We would award promo of the week to someone else for the first time ever. Really fascinating watch. He cut a promo on many famous comedians, namely Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, and as he would deem, industry plant Kevin Hart. So Cat is just, he's ready for all the smoke in 2024. My favorite line from this appearance, Brad, finally was he told Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp has had some of these people on his show, and Cat Williams' whole point was like, you had these people on the show, they lied to you, I'm going to clear all this up. Cat told Shannon, quote, you have an unnatural allegiance to losers, and it's not like you. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, if Cat wants a future in wrestling, Triple H, Nick Khan, Tony Khan, please get this man's number, because he was on fire this week. That's it for me. What do we
I did see the stuff with Ludacris, and I saw Luda's response to it, turning sideways with the pointed chop. I thought that was great. But I'll have to check that out, because I saw it all over the timeline, but I didn't actually see what was going on, nor did I watch the interview other than some clips. Okay, Kota Ibushi is officially injured. He went in for surgery. His ankle exploded. His ankle was injured before this match that he had at Noah, and it was a bad match because he was so injured. And then he just broke it entirely by all accounts. So the Golden Lovers not going to be in the ring together for a while. The Bucks are still gone. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's still an injury related thing, if it's a storyline thing, if it's a family. I have no idea, but the elite are missed on TV. Bryan Danielson, holy bleep, $9.99 New Japan World, worth it. Bryan Danielson lost to Kazuchika Okada in a match where Danielson had most of the offense in. And when I say that this match was snug, Tyler, I'm saying this was snug even for Danielson. Like the punches and stuff, good God, they must be just soaking in ice right now. Unbelievable match. Meltzer rated it 5.25 stars or 5 3/4 stars, something like that. I don't know if I would have given it that, but it was an incredible match. I still have yet to watch the rest of it. They did not put they put the Wrestle Kingdom thing in like weird by match video chunks instead of like the whole event, so I couldn't just turn it on and watch. So I just, all right, I'm just going to watch this match, and then I'll go back and watch the Okada or the Ospreay match later. That's my next stop. Although I do want to see Tonga. Will Ospreay's entrance, though, we got to talk about the Assassin's Creed Jacob Fry inspired entrance. I know I started sending you off context bombs, assuming that you didn't play any of those games in the franchise. I was correct on that, right?
You were
okay,
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Jacob Fry, that outfit, the top hat, all of it being from London, I thought that was really dope. Looked really cool. I thought the hidden blade was unnecessary, even though that's his finisher and that's where it comes from. I do think that's pretty cool. the Undisputed Kingdom is something else that I wrote down on my list that we didn't talk about, but we just did. I have more hope for this than you probably do. My problem with it is that it felt like this was the plan all along, and they had to pull the trigger on it because of Max's injuries, and they wouldn't have if Adam Cole was healthy or was not healthy. If Max was healthy, Adam Cole's still not healthy, I think they would have prolonged it, but Max being injured, we got to do it now. So Adam, just get out there and sit in a chair because your leg's busted because you decided not to take the stairs that one time.
Yeah, that one time in New York.
Unbelievable. So yeah, that's it.
Wow. This was a blast, man. In case you haven't heard, you can find our articles on wrestling, pop culture, and more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. Of course, you can follow us on X at GIPod19. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Search Gimmick Infringement, and we are there. We thank you for being here, and we hope you'll join us again for the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Say goodbye. Bye. Say goodbye.